The Battle of Crécy, fought on August 26, 1346, was a pivotal conflict between the English and French armies during the 100 Years' War. On one side, King Edward III led a combined force of English, Welsh, and Allied troops, while the French army, substantially larger in size, with support from the blind King John of Bohemia, occupied the other. When the Battle of Crécy next place, was commanded by King Philip III, with support from the blind King John of Bohemia. 2nd October, 1846. Edward III's army, though outnumbered, displayed remarkable strategic preparation. His forces included approximately 4,000 knights and men-at-arms, 7,000 archers, predominantly Welsh and English longbowmen, and 5,000 spearmen. To strengthen their position, the English soldiers dug defensive ditches and scattered caltrops across the battlefield, creating hazards for enemy cavalry. On the day of the accident, Edward made the critical decision to dismount his knights and men-at-arms, ordering them to fight on foot, ensuring a unified and steadfast defensive line. The French army was estimated to consist of 200 to 300 troops, far exceeding the English numbers. It included mercenary Genoese crossbowmen, who formed the vanguard, followed by divisions of knights and men-at-arms, under the Count of Alençon. Despite their numerical advantage, the French faced significant challenges from the start. One of the first lessons we learned from the King's Russian army. The French found themselves fighting two primary enemies. The Tsar, far beyond the reach of reason. The Genoese crossbowmen, who had left their protective pavesses in the baggage train, became vulnerable to the relentless volleys of English longbowmen. And as the nights went on, the fate of the English longbowmen was on the line. A sudden rainstorm before the battle further disadvantaged the French. The crossbows of the Genoese mercenaries were rendered less effective by the damp conditions, while the English longbowmen, equipped with waterproof bowstrings, maintained their devastating firepower. The French unfurled their sacred banner, the Oriflamme, signaling that no quarter would be given to their enemies. A declaration of unrelenting hostility. As the battle commenced, the Genoese crossbowmen advanced, but were soon overwhelmed by the English archers' rapid and accurate fire. Chaos ensued as the Genoese retreated, only to be mercilessly cut down by the advancing French cavalry, who regarded their retreat as cowardice. This misstep marked the beginning of a series of French tactical blunders. Whoa. Wave after wave of French cavalry launched assaults on the English lines, perhaps as many as 15 separate charges, but all were driven back. The English position, protected by natural features such as a forest and marshland on one flank, and the village of Waudecourt on the other, proved impenetrable. The bodies of fallen men and horses formed gruesome barriers in front of the English defenders, marched forward down the field. But on arriving at a certain spot, the troops all came to a stop completely. Amid the chaos, the division commanded by Edward, the Black Prince, faced particularly heavy pressure. A messenger rode to King Edward III, stationed at a windmill nearby, seeking reinforcements to support the prince. The king, however, famously refused, stating, "Let the boy win his spurs." This phrase not only symbolized his trust in his son's leadership, but also served as a test of the young prince's mettle. One of the most tragic and symbolic moments of the battle involved King John of Bohemia, blind but determined to fight. In a dramatic act of bravery, he ordered his horse's bridle to be tied to those of his attendants, forming a small charge. They rode into the fray, but were swiftly overwhelmed, and all were pulled from their horses and killed. King Philip VI of France suffered injuries during the battle, and his horse was killed twice, though he managed to find replacements and continue the fight. As the French forces faltered and morale plummeted, Philip ultimately retreated, marking the end of the engagement. It's unclear if upon this specific jungle either side made further hostile movements. Perhaps the rest of the French army was forced to retreat. The battle resulted in a decisive English victory. Remarkably, English casualties were minimal, with only around 300 losses, while the French suffered catastrophic losses, including 1,542 knights. The sacred Oriflamme banner was captured by the English, a significant blow to French pride. Among the battlefield's grim aftermath, the body of King John of Bohemia was discovered by the Black Prince, who reportedly took his crest, a symbol of respect and recognition for the fallen king's bravery. Crécy not only solidified Edward III's reputation as a brilliant military tactician, but also underscored the effectiveness of the English longbow, shaping the future of medieval warfare. Now,